So, good morning, friends. Now, today we will talk about how a normal working day of a consultant looks like in a support project. In the previous video, we have talked about implementation project, a normal working day for a consultant. Today, we will talk about support project, a normal working day of a consultant. Let's move further. So, this is just some pictures which I have just captured in the screenshot to look it beautiful. So, SAP project work which is in support is what we will see, and we have to work on lot of issues in the support work. So how a normal working day will look like, just to have a feel of it, is what is the main purpose for this video. So before I move further, it's my request to all of you that please like my YouTube channel, subscribe the video, subscribe my YouTube channel, like the video, and even share in your circle. This is a very useful information, and in most of the places it is not properly explained actually. So I'm just trying to explain it in the very layman language so that anybody can understand it. That is the main purpose of making this video, to make people realize how a normal working day will look like, particularly for the people who do not have enough experience or who have never worked on a support project. Let's move further. What all things it will have? So it will have SAP support project or SAP AMS project. What all activities will be there in the SAP project support work? What is called as SLA and the different types of tickets or incidents, the timing of AMS projects and activities, firefighter used in AMS work, normal working day of a SAP consultant, various teams management, my personal opinion, and then finally we will end with conclusion. So all these things we are going to see one by one. Let's move ahead. So this is how a normal working day of a SAP consultant in a support work will look like. They will be literally dealing with too many items at one go, and sometimes all items which they are dealing with will have the equal priority also to be finished first. Sometimes people get pressurized because of this situation, because every activity is a priority, and they all need to be done all at the same time, which is a very difficult situation to manage, but still people have to deal with it. Let's move further. So what is SAP project? First let us understand. So SAP support project means that SAP system is already implemented in that particular client or organization. A team or a support team handles the queries of business users together with carrying out new configuration as well as the ABAP development changes as per the business requirement. That means system is already live, and since the system is already live, you need to ensure that system is running fine, system does not have any issue, and if any new requirement is coming up from the business user side, whether it is on the technical side or the functional side, it needs to be taken care of as per the business requirement. The support project is carried out to ensure that the SAP system is available for the business users most of the time, and the SAP system performance also is optimum. As you know, the performance of a system is not a constant item. It keeps on changing depending on lot of factors. So it is the responsibility of the support team to ensure that the system is up and running most of the time, so that the business is not facing any interruptions with regard to the accessibility to the SAP system. So these are some of the very important parameters with regard to the SAP project work in support. Let's move further. So what all things it will have? We have talked about AMS, right? AMS means application management services, which has to ensure that quality of the work or quality of the support being given, satisfaction to the client, then availability of the system most of the time, then also whatever issue is being assigned to you based on the service level agreement or otherwise called as SLA signed between various parties need to be adhered to. Basically, that SLA will have all the terms and conditions which will govern the SAP support project, and it will have a definite start date and it will also have a definite end date. That means beginning point and end point will be decided in advance, and once the expiry of the project comes, further bidding will happen and whoever wins that contract will take up that work. So that is all about SAP AMS work, which is called as application management services. Let's move further. What all activities you do in the SAP support project? This is what you do more or less on a regular and daily basis. You have to check all your emails. Many a times people miss out to check and some information gets missed out because they did not check the email, and then that also can also become a problem at times. So ensure that you are checking all your emails. Whatever incidents are assigned to you, you need to ensure for the resolutions. Some tickets will be easy, some tickets will be difficult, some tickets will be cross module, some tickets will be interface related issues. The variety of tickets are literally too many. Then you also need to be aware which kind of transport request movement process is being followed in the AMS work. Please remember that one thing, every client has a different process by which they move a transport request, nothing but TR, from one system to the another. So please be fully aware of that. That is very, very important. And you are supposed to be aware of that as well. Anybody who is joining the support project as a new team member must be asking this question to the management to explain them what is the TR movement process being followed in this particular client. Very, very important. Then lot of meetings and discussions will happen with the business users if they come up with some new requirement. If they say okay, we have to set up a new asset class for that example, then all the information which you need in order to set up a new asset class, you are going to ask to the business user. So sometimes you have to conduct lot of meetings, and this meeting is not just with the business user. Meeting can happen with lot of people. That's why I've written AMS management and the reporting as well. For that regard also, lot of meeting happens within the team, then cross teams meetings and so on, then management level meetings and likewise. If any new requirements are coming up, something like a plant needs to be commissioned, this itself will be kind of a new mini project kind of thing. So if anything new is coming up, you should be aware of. If they say okay, a new bank is joining for the payment line, for the payment process, now you have to do the whole set of things for that particular new bank which is coming up. So these are all kind of your new requirements. Then AMS teams management, I mean, you will also have a team for the AMS work to deliver across various modules whatever the business users are using. So you will be part of that team and you will be actively contributing within the team as well. So that will be the expectation. So all these activities you are supposed to perform, check and ensure that everything is running fine. Let's move on further. We will understand SLA little bit about and what all the kind of tickets and incidents we have, different kind of things. Let us understand. So SLA is basically a contract between SAP and its customers that forms the basics of your contractual relationship with SAP when referenced in a specific order forms. So basically it is a legal contract. SLA is nothing but a legal contract with SAP, with vendor and with the client. Basically it is usually a three-party contract. Most of the time it is like that. Then SLA is of two types. One is called as response time SLA, another is called as resolution SLA. Response time SLA means, though I have written it, but let me explain you in a plain words. From the time a ticket is created till its assignment to the respective team member in the AMS team, the time spent during this period is called as response SLA. That means as long as somebody has acknowledged it that yes, we have received the ticket and it is being assigned to the respective team member. So from the time of creation till the assignment to the AMS team member, whatever time goes in between is called as response SLA. Then resolution SLA will be the SLA which will start once the acknowledgement is done. From that time till the closure of the ticket. This entire duration, whatever time is being spent, is called as the resolution SLA. That means the solutioning of the ticket. So let's move on further. I hope this response SLA and resolution SLA is clear to you. Many a times this can be asked even in your interview whether you know what all kind of SLAs we have. But in general, these two SLAs most of the company follow. Let's move further. Now, what are the different type of tickets and tasks we can have? As you can see, we have P1 ticket, we have P2 ticket, P3 and P4. P1 is something which is very critical for the business performance. If any issue is there which is causing lot of issues and multi people, multi user, multi site, it has affected the business performance and it is hampering the regular business activity, then such kind of issues are called as P1 ticket. Usually P1 tickets everybody is not lucky enough to see. Usually it doesn't happen also as well. That is why not everybody can see the P1 ticket. P2 ticket is a high priority issue, particularly when the month end is going on or the year end is going on and something is broken up which is impacting the system and impacting the business process. Such kind of, suppose for example, at the month end the payment file has come for the employees and that did not work somehow, for example. So that will definitely ask for a P2 ticket because that need to resolve in a very short period of time. Too much of time you will not be getting it. If it is a P3 ticket, it is called as a medium priority ticket, though it is little bit on a medium side, but then you will have more time when compared to P1 and P2 to fix these kind of issues. And if it is P4, P4 simply means this is the usually the lowest level of urgency for a given ticket. You can do it comfortably. You will get the maximum time to resolve P4 tickets. P1 ticket will have very less time, anything between 2 hours to 8 hours max. I don't think more than 8 hours anybody will give you for a P1 ticket. If it is a P2 ticket, it depends, but anything between 8 hours to max 24 hours, not more than that people usually give. P3 you will have anything between 2 days to 4 days time. In between you will get for a P3 ticket, and if it is a P4 ticket, usually 5 days and above you will get for a P4 ticket. So this is what is all about P1 to P4 ticket. Let's move further. So I have just given the different type of tickets what we have, how the priority and things would be there. So this is what I have just explained in the previous slide. Basically, very high, high, medium, and low. If it is very high, then critical business processes are affected and crucial tasks cannot be carried out. Then it will go for the P1 which I was talking about. If it is high, then key business processes are affected and important tasks cannot be carried out. This also needs a very quick action and very quick resolution time. Medium is vision processes are affected, but impact is very limited, and it has very minor impact on the business productivity. And low means it has more or less like almost like no effect, or it has very less effect. Let's move on further. I hope this entire slide you can correlate with this one and this one are related slides basically. Let's move further. The timing of AMS projects and activities. This is very critical, and this happens into every AMS project. If you are in the month end and if you are in the new month beginning, your hands will be always full. You will not have time to breathe. You will have too many work to deliver, and lot of things comes during this period. Lot of issues you can expect during this period. If it is year end or beginning of the new year, again your hands will be full, because it will be not just year end, it will also have month end and year end together basically. So in that case, you will be even more extra occupied, and this happens whenever your year comes to an end, whether it is a calendar year or it is a non-calendar year. Many a times, or rather I will say most of the time, any other time other than the mentioned above, you will still have workload, but then load is usually little bit lesser. You may have little bit breathing space, so that you can focus on the work which is being assigned to you, or tickets or tasks assigned to you. Then if any critical changes needs to move to the production system, that time also people need to be very careful, because if something critical is getting to the production system, that also will have the potential to sometimes disturb the already running process in the production system. And if that happens, again it will go into your P1 and P2 tickets only. So that time you need to be very careful. Then you will be also expected to provide some project improvement ideas, certain thoughts, certain processes, certain steps which can be done in order to improve the efficiency of the project management. Suppose the management might ask you, okay, give us some tips based on which we can reduce some number of tickets. Give us some tips by which we can ensure that certain things business users can do themselves instead of reducing a ticket to us. All these things will reduce the overall workload for the support team. So that kind of expectations you will have, and you will have to give some valuable ideas. You will be expected to contribute into that side, and if you do, it will be going into your appraisal as well, just to letting you know. Then there is also something called as problem tickets. Now people will ask, what is a problem ticket? It is already a problem, right? So that is why somebody has raised a ticket. Why it is called as problem ticket? The issue with the problem ticket is these are actually called as the pain points of the client or the business. They will be usually very complex in nature, very deep level, and the detailed level analysis is needed to find out the root cause and to find out the resolution for it. And since they are very complex in nature by default, that is why for such kind of issues a separate category is being created for these kind of issues, and that is what is called as problem tickets. So one need to be fully aware of how this problem ticket is, and remember, client to client this problem tickets creation process also differs. So you should be aware of it. If at all you are not aware, please ask for it and get to know about it. Moving on to the next slide. Firefighter. This is again very important term. Other people usually also called as FNF, FF access. FF access is basically the special privilege given to you to be used in the SAP production system. Please remember one thing. This FF access applies only for the production system. This FF access usually does not apply for quality and development system. This is used exclusively for the production system. Certain activities, suppose you are supposed to perform. Suppose you have to create a new tax code in the production system. How you will create it without firefighter access? With your personal user ID, you will not be able to do that. For that, you need to apply for this FF access. Then that means only specific activities when you need to perform. Suppose you have to set up some number ranges in the system, in the production system. Again, you have to apply for the firefighter access. This firefighter access is also mostly used during the month end and the year end processes as well, because that time system load would be very high. The variety of issues also will come up, and that time you also need to analyze the issue, and for that sometimes this FF access would be needed. Then the audit team of the client will also track the usage of this firefighter access, for which purpose it was asked for, what all T code they have used, and things like that. It will have a complete track record of it. Remember, this access is not your default access, and every time you need to use it, you have to apply for it, and the client side somebody who are authorized to approve such kind of request, they will be approving it for you. Once they approve it, then only you will be able to use this special privilege to perform the specific activities. Then not only that, you also will have to justify why do you need that special access in the SAP production system, which is also called as business justification, to be provided when you are applying for the firefighter access. Since this is a special access, so the treatment also is special. For everything, it will have only special treatment. It will not have a normal treatment. So when you are applying for the firefighter access, you will also need to mention that why are you asking for it, what you are going to do with this firefighter access. Something, some activity which you can do with your own personal ID, which is being given to you to access the system. If that access can do the work, then you cannot ask for the SAP firefighter access. Clear? Only activities which you cannot do with your user ID in the production system, and that needs to be done in the SAP production system, then only you will apply for this firefighter access. Let's move further. How a normal working day of a consultant in the support work will look like is depending on what level of job he is doing. Whether he or she is a junior level consultant, middle level consultant, senior consultant, management, project management team, or what you are. So which level you are in your work, that will decide how your day will look like, and then it will also be depending on whether you are on a technical side or you are on a functional side. That also matters a lot. If you are on a technical side, probably a lot of debugging you will have to do, some new functionality if at all needs to be created, or some bug fix kind of things. So all these things kind of issues you will be involved in. If it is a functional issue, then some kind of analysis or maybe reporting or interface or some new requirement, the varieties are literally too many. Then sometimes the workload will be high, sometimes workload will be less, because and what all variety of tickets and tasks you have in your hand also will decide how your day how a working day for you look like in a SAP support work. Then what is the size of a project team, how much workload is coming on a regular basis, and how is the relationship between various teams within the SAP support work. All these factors also will decide how your working day will look like. Remember, as I have already said earlier also, that SAP work, irrespective of kind of project you are engaged in, is always a team effort. SAP work is never done by a single individual. It is always done by a group of individuals. So please ensure that you are an active participator in the teamwork and support each other, take help and give help as well. Then you also need to follow the SLA timelines given against each of the variety of tickets and tasks assigned to you. Ensure that SLA is not breaching up. So from that perspective, we will talk some days separately. But in general, in our previous slides, we have discussed about P1, P2, P3, P4. So there will be certain timelines assigned against each of these variety of tickets and tasks. So you have to adhere to that particular timelines. You need to ensure that within that time limit you are fixing that issue properly. And if at all you miss your SLA and timelines, you will have to reply to the management saying that why did it breach its SLA. You will have to give a justification for that, and that will not go good for your appraisal process when the time will come. So ensure that all these things you are taking care of and SLA timelines are properly met. Let's move on. So what all different kind of teams you will be dealing with? You will have your juniors, you will have your co-workers, you will have your seniors and reporting managers, business viewers and key users, reporting person on the client side also in your each of the department like finance, HR, marketing, sales, materials management and so on. Then what all the variety of meetings you will have, and how are you working as a person? Are you a person who is easily approachable? Are you a person which is helping their team members to do their job properly? So many things are there. And how good you are into two things, multitasking and handling the various pressures at any given point of time. All these things will ensure that how you are going to perform. Then some of the activities will be always dependent on some other team members also. So you have to follow with them as well. Everything you will not be able to do on your own. And in many places you will definitely need help from the other teams as well. So that's why I have written dependency on other teams. So all these things, somewhere it will touch your day on any normally given working day also. Some things may not come also, depends. If it is a lean period or you don't have more tickets in hand, then probably everything will not come to the picture. But then if it is a proper working day, you might see all of these happening at one go. Now let's move on to the next. My personal opinion about the working day of a SAP consultant. The work is usually on the ad hoc basis because you never know what will come and what will not come. This is very difficult to predict. That is why I have written this, you have to work on ad hoc basis. Sometimes if as a part of SLA it is being given that, or it is being mentioned that we will be supporting you for high priority tickets over the weekend as well, which is also called as on call support. So you might be working over the weekends also sometimes. Then how much experience you have with regard to the SLA and the various type of issues handling, that will decide that how good or how better you will be able to perform in your SAP support work. Then priority of the incidents, whether it is P1, P2, P3, P4, and somebody will raise ticket as a P3, but they will expect you to perform work like P1. So that is another issue many a times people can face. So be ready to deal with such kind of issues if you are engaged into a SAP support work. Then open communication across various teams. What is your maturity level to handle various kind of situations coming up in your way? Then how good you are in terms of doing the resolution of problem incidents. How is your attitude towards whatever work is being assigned to you? And again, you need to be in your limits. You cannot cross your limits. If you cross your limits, then it will be a problem. You should know whom you are talking to, what is your limits, and work within the limits. Whether it is in SAP system or whether it is dealing with the management, whether it is dealing with your co-workers, whether it is dealing with the client people, because you will be interacting with a variety of people from variety of backgrounds. In order to handle such kind of things, you need to be more mature. Let's move further. So, how a support work project will look like, as you can see, people are busy with something here and there and there, right? Now we see we have software, we have enterprise, we have resource, we have planning, we have analysis, we have development, we have programs, and we have SAP system as well. All these things will be together working for the single goal, that system is up and running, and very less downtime for the SAP system. That is the ultimate goal for the AMS work, and all new requirements, upcoming things need to be taken care of. Now let's move to the next slide. So in support project also you will have to follow the audit compliance, you will have some standards, you will have some quality control also, something like peer review kind of thing, correct? Then you will have practices, you will have requirements, you will have strategy, laws, security, governance, and business model. So by way of SAP AMS model, you will have landscape assessment, you have solution design, you have drafting and documentation, you will have information gathering, you will have conversation, you will have performance optimization, continuous support, and landscape assessment. All these things you will be dealing with in a SAP project work, depending on which module you are working on and what are your activities, what is your job level, how much experience and exposure you have, and there are so many other factors. So each factor will have the ability to play its role, and you will have to deal with it. Moving next, now coming to the conclusion. So it goes without saying that you have to take care of the SLA breaches in the SAP support work, because that is very critical. If any breach happens, particularly for P1 and P2 ticket, you might also end up, or the company who is giving AMS support also might end up paying penalty for the same. This is not a free service as such. You will have to pay the penalty if you commit the mistake. Only for P3 and P4, and that also in SLA it will be written up to what level, what is the level, the percentage level they want to be done on time. If you break that time limits or the percentage limits, it will become a penalty. One important thing which I have always seen is the work in the AMS site never ends. You will try to always finish it off everything, it will never happen. Something or the other will keep coming in, irrespective of whether of how much expertise you may have. So in that case, kindly ensure that while working, don't forget your health. You have to take care of your health as well along with the work. Always ask for clarification if something you are not able to understand or something you feel that is not clear to you. Do not hesitate, because this hesitation can create another issue for you. Always be an open person, take help and give help as well. Don't think that by sharing knowledge you are going to become a weak person. No. Anybody who feels insecure by sharing their knowledge is actually not a good person. So always give the help and take the help. It will go both ways, because SAP AMS work is always a team work. It is not a one person work. Right? One person cannot do everything. That is just not possible. So in that case, it is very important that everybody is ensuring that they are working to the best of their ability, and if they have any doubt, get it clarified. Learn something new daily. Learning also should not have any boundaries as such. You have to learn daily if you want to survive in the long run in your career. Whatever activities you are performing, please ensure that you always keep a track record of all activities in your hand. What is being happening, what is not happening, where we are stuck up on a particular issue, what is the current status, because people will keep on asking about the status update, status update. This terminology is very common. What is the status update on your ticket, or on your task, or things like that? People will keep on coming and asking. So unless you keep a track of it, the moment somebody will ask you, you should be in a position to tell them instantly the reply that okay, where we are on this particular issue. Sometimes you can have 2 tickets in your hand, sometimes you can have 20 tickets in your hand. You don't know. You can't decide and you cannot define. It depends. It depends on a lot of factors. Sometimes 2 3 members of your team have gone on vacation and only another 2 people are left. They will have to take the load of 5 6 people also at times. It happens. So you need to understand and work accordingly. And if anything goes wrong and you are on call, then you should be available for any kind of urgency in the SAP system. I mean, P1 and P2 tickets is what I am basically referring to. Very important, and I have handled quite a few in my career so far. So that's it from conclusion from my side. Let's move further. Uh, we have other points also which you have to we have to take care of. Multitasking. You should be good in multitasking, because AMS work is all about multitasking. Many people will approach you sometimes at one go, and you have to manage the show. Always be proactive, because in AMS work you will not have time to react much. So more proactive you are, the better person and better consultant you will become from the SAP support perspective. Very important. Whatever process is defined for each of the activities which you are doing, whether it is related to the transport movement, whether it is related to the communication with the business user, whether it is related to any other important things. Always follow the process. Do not try to cut across the process. Otherwise, you might land up in the problem. Use your mind. Then have a proper communication across the team members. Always communicate properly, particularly if you are a senior manager or a senior person or senior consultant. Ensure that your team is aware of what all things are happening, what all things newly are coming up, are they well trained to deliver such kind of work or not, and things like that, right? Sometimes you might need to take up certain new additional responsibilities. Sometimes you need to get training also and other things as well. So all these things can be comfortably handled if the communication is clear. Otherwise, it will always come as a shock, and it is very difficult to bear a shock. So ensure that communication is given well in advance. Many a times things will not go the way you have planned for it. It can take all kind of turns and twists together. Still you will have to deal with it. So expect the unexpected events also sometimes. It will definitely happen. You will not be able to control it. Another very important thing is, since all your changes what you do leads to the production system for one way or the other, ensure that there is no mistakes in your delivery of whatever work is being assigned to you. If there is any mistake, it will prove very costly, and you will be held accountable for the mistake which you do. You might get some punishment as well, depending on the severity of the mistake which you have carried out. In SAP system, every activity you do, particularly in the real systems, are a traceable event. It can be traced out who was the person, from which system, from what time, and with which user ID this activity was carried out. You can't run away from it. So please ensure all these things. And when you complete all the above, then I would say welcome to the SAP support project work. You are an ideal candidate for SAP support project work if you are able to manage all the above. I mean, particularly this one, all these things, and this one. If you are able to handle and manage, you will definitely become a very good consultant for the SAP support project work. Let's move further. Now we have come to the conclusion of this particular video. I hope you would like it in terms of getting a lot of small inputs, not just for understanding how the AMS project looks like, but also for the understanding of some of the interview questions and some of the scenarios which you some of the interview questions also you can answer by watching this video, which is very important. If at all you have some other query, please drop an email to the email ID shown above, and that will be definitely answered accordingly. Moving on to the next. Now we have come to the last slide of this particular video. Thank you so much for watching this video. Kindly subscribe my YouTube channel, like this video. If you have any specific comments, please put on the video comment section of this particular YouTube video. That also I will definitely answer if you have any specific query on that. So with this, now I am concluding this video. Thank you. Bye bye.